Gate. All right, this should be good. All right, we'll crank up the gain as well, and then you guys can probably hear us better this way. I hope. Is it good? We're live both on YouTube for the first time ever. Normally, I just go live on Twitch.
Right.
And there's 30,000 people watching on Twitch, and then there's another 20,000 people watching on YouTube. So 50,000 total people watching on both of these platforms. And the reason why the static is very bad. What do you mean? What's static? Is there static? Anyway, whatever. There's going to be some production issues because this is like, unfortunately, one of those problems where increase the volume. Okay, I'll crank it up even more. I thought I had it cranked up enough, but maybe no. What about now? Is it better? Chat, is this better? I think this is better, right? It should be good. Okay, this should be good. Real-time production. Yanis Varoufakis in the building, everybody. We're just gonna talk about the valve economy. Actually, that's why
you wanted out.
That's why I brought you here. Yeah, to talk about Gavin.
Hello, everyone.
To talk about Gavin and the valve economy.
He wants insider information.
Yeah, that's what I want to know because he cooked the CS:GO knife market recently out of nowhere.
I don't follow. Yeah, I have to tell you that I don't follow.
No, I'm kidding. I know. Well, they might not know because everyone is always shocked because they might know you as Marxist academic. They might know you from Progressive International, but a lot of people don't know that you were early on in
very early on.
Very early on, and you helped with the valve economy, right?
Well, let me tell you, it's a nice story. By the way, I'm not going to divulge anything that Gabe wouldn't want me to.
Okay.
Because one has to stick to one's basic ethical rules. But there isn't that much to divulge anyway. But the story, I think, is quite interesting because, I'm not a gamer. I mean, I used to. I'm still.
You're not a gamer.
No, I'm not a gamer. I used to play Space Invaders when I was young, right? I mean, that kind of antiquated stuff, and a lot of pinball machines. I love pinball machines.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. Really. So
So you were there when gaming was invented.
I was there when gaming was invented, and then I gave up when it became interactive and multiplayer and more interesting.
Yeah.
So around 2007, 2008, with the great financial collapse, I got seriously stuck into what was happening in the world of finance, especially in my neck of the woods, because my country became effectively ground zero. Your country was the original ground zero with subprime market and all that, but when that shockwave hit Greece, we're talking about carnage, real carnage, not the Donald Trump kind of bullshit carnage that he's referring to. Anyway, so I wrote a lot. I created a blog just for that purpose, in order to discuss what I thought needed to be discussed. And to cut a long story short, I was writing a lot about the Eurozone, about the problems of bringing different jurisdictions together, different countries together under the aegis of a common currency. Mm-hmm. And I was very critical, and I was explaining the systemic issues that emerge, lots of boring stuff from most people who are not interested in finance. And one night, it was 2011, I get an email from somebody I had never heard of, Gabe Newell.
Yeah.
Gaben.
And
he said, dear Yanis, didn't say dear Yanis, hi Yanis. My name is Gabe, and my work has nothing to do with yours, but I've been following your criticisms of the way in which Europe has put its currencies together. So I was reading, and he said, I am a game developer, I have a gaming company. I knew nothing about all this world. And I was about to stop reading and move on. I thought, okay, why do I care?
Yeah.
And then he said something that piqued my interest. He said, we are facing in my company similar problems to the Eurozone, according to your description. I thought, what? Here we have a continent, we have 19 countries, put all the currencies into one. What does this have to do with gaming? And so I kept reading. And it was just one paragraph. He said, we have different gaming platforms, we have different games, and there has been a spontaneous evolution of currencies. And we are wondering, I'm worrying that maybe we're making the mistake of bringing those currencies together and creating a common currency in a manner that's reminiscent of the fuck up that is Europe.
Yeah.
He didn't use that word, he was much more polite. And would you like to talk to me about that? So I responded. I mean, it was very intriguing.
Yeah.
To cut a long story short, I happened to be going to the United States a week after that. I was going to go to New York. And he said, well, if you're coming to New York, why don't you come to Seattle as well? And I was flown there. And I remember I arrived in Seattle at the airport. And there's this limo that was waiting for me. And the driver said, you're here for the interview? I said, no. I'm here to spend a day talking to Gabe and some people in the company about, interesting stuff. Anyway, he was really very polite, the driver. And when he dropped me off at the hotel, he leaned towards me. He said, you are here for the interview. And I thought, look, what a pugnacious driver that guy is. Anyway, it turned out that it was an informal interview. And anyway, we worked together for about a year.
Yeah.
And it was great fun because what was happening was very close to what he suspected was happening. Those of you who are gamers, who know about the hat economy and the various... Look, just briefly, these people were game developers. They had not imagined that they would have created a multi-million or multi-billion dollar economy within their games. But what happened was that some of those items that they drop in order to give incentives to people to keep playing the game. Mm-hmm. At some point, they discontinued them and then they drop different items, different gifts, different swords, different hats, different this, that, and the other. So what they noticed, what they actually observed, was that those older digital items were becoming collectibles. And people were stepping out of the game, they were going into eBay and trading them on trust. Yeah. On trust. Okay, so you and I are playing Half-Life, whatever, and you want my old hat, and so what we do is we go into eBay. You give me $5,000. Back then, that was a huge quantity of money for a stupid digital hat, right? Which is worth nothing, really.
I mean, I can't believe you're saying that. Gabe is going to be mad.
Yeah, well, let them. I don't mind. I don't mind. Yeah, I'm quite good at making people mad. Anyway, so, but then they would have to trust that the person that actually received the money would actually hand over the hat in the game.
Yeah.
So the idea emerged that, firstly, this is a bubble that if it bursts, a lot of people will get burned, and bonds of trust will collapse. And then Gabe was worried that the people will leave the game, and he will lose customers. That's one thing. And secondly, he was thinking of ways of monetizing it. So why let eBay monetize it and not bring it into the platform itself?
Yeah.
So essentially, that was the beginning of my idea about techno-feudalism. Because I was thinking that, hang on a second, here you have spontaneously emerging economies within gaming platforms, within digital universes, which sounds great and very interesting, except that they're owned by one man.
Yeah.
And he's the techno-feudal lord. He may be benevolent.
Yeah, I was about to say he
could be malevolent.
At least on the internet, he's regarded as like the only good benevolent techno-feudal lord.
Yeah, well, okay, but I don't know how he has behaved since 2012, which is the last time I spoke to these people. People, your audience will have to tell us.
No, even to this day. Well, Turks have a special place for Gaben because I think he did like a price adjustment. Was it him who said like piracy is a service issue? I think it might have been him who said
Sounds
that.
like him. I don't know. I haven't heard him say that, but it sounds like.
But I do agree with that on principle because like I grew up, in the participating in the black market for video games because in Turkey it's like impossible to access them, and there was a secondary market in the country where we would go to like a storefront, like a brick and mortar retail store that would sell, 2 lira video games that were downloaded on the internet. It was completely, it was with a concept called crack. So they would like crack the game so you could play it without having to actually purchase it online. and he's right. The only reason why I downloaded these pirated copies or purchased these pirated copies at these stores was because it was inaccessible. It was impossible to access it. And what he did was he did currency adjustment. So if a game was like $5,
That's right.
It was 5 lira equivalent in Turkey. And
So it was PPP.
Yeah, exactly.
Purchasing power parity.
Exactly,
Yeah.
PPP adjusted.
That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, and that's why Turks
That's not
love
really,
him.
particularly progressive. This is simply smart business.
Yeah, for sure. But because I think because other companies are much more greedy, that he looks better in comparison.
No, I understand. But it's not just that. The way in which Valve was run internally, the horizontal, or at least in theory, horizontal management structure, lack of management, the rather anarcho-syndicalist aura that the place had. So, you chose your own projects, you didn't have a line manager, and you just had an idea and you put it out there on the internet and you ask people, this is what I'm doing. Would you like to join me? And nobody could say, bad idea, don't do it. It was a question of whether you could garner enough support from other employees to come and work with you. So what I did was, the few months I was there, I actually studied that economy. Because it was an economy in the making. And it felt, as an economist, it was a dream come true. Hasan, do you realize I didn't need statistics? Because, I was God.
Yeah.
When you're God, when you have all the data, when you're omniscient, why do you need statistics? You need statistics only when you don't know and you try to sample in order to get an approximation of the facts.
Yeah.
But if you have all the facts in real time, you know exactly who did what when.
Yeah.
Throughout, from beginning to now, in real time. So it was very exciting. And, and I studied the way in which different items emerged as currency, candidates, and how, the exchange rates between them. It was, for me as an academic economist, like being a child in a lolly store.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit of background for the audience that might not know. But you're here in the Web Summit in Qatar. We're in the heart of conflict right now. And for those of you who don't know, you've written extensively about geopolitical affairs in general, but also socialist, communist movements around the world. And one of the major things that is going on today that I wanted to cover is how interconnected it all is around a singular figure almost, Jeffrey Epstein. It's one of those. It's an absolute vindication moment for the left position, I think, internationally. We've talked about, dollar hegemony and potentially these predatory elite billionaires that control the world of finance, control the globe. These capitalists that are potentially engaging in like horrifying acts behind closed doors. And networking along those lines to dominate the entire planet. And the Department of Justice has been forced to release the Jeffrey Epstein investigation files, and they've taken a slow approach so far. But there have been new dumps that came out over the weekend, and it's been very interesting to analyze. Have you been paying attention to this?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm mentioning them.
You are?
Yes.
Oh, really?
And in the nicest possible way.